Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Griff.
I'm Bucket.
So good.
What's up?
How's it going? Sorry we weren't here last week. We're back now. Yay!
Yeah.
So, Chicken and I started watching that Resident Evil series on Netflix. We haven't finished it yet. I think we're like halfway. But it's really hard to go, oh yeah, that's Resident Evil. I definitely see that. So
I take that as with every other piece of media. Whenever you go to another one, you cannot. The only similarities is the name. That's it. That's it. You could use names in the game, but I mean the whole fucking thing is so.
I don't necessarily think that's true. I mean, I think there's going to be differences, but
you go to it differently. Like, don't compare, because then you're gonna be sad, and that goes for everyone. Halo, Uncharted,
but I think
Evil.
that like with Halo, they go, hey, here's familiar characters, and then we're just going to throw the plot line completely out. We're just going to create whatever we want to. I don't know Warcraft well enough to know how the movie was compared to the original plot line stuff on that. I think, that's why I'm very interested to see what The Last of Us ends up doing, because The Last of Us is literally recreating the game as a television series. So I'm interested to see how that one's going to compare, and is that now going to be a benchmark if it does well and people like it? I don't know, but Resident Evil, I for people that love the games as much as you guys do, and I'm a cinema guy. I love television shows, stuff like that, and how they're made. I got about 25 minutes into it and had to turn it completely off because I couldn't handle it. And I don't know anything about the Resident Evil stuff well enough to know the lore and all that. I'm just saying, from a viewer standpoint, of somebody that doesn't know it as well, I couldn't make it 25 minutes in.
What was the preventative thing for you? Like, what was your barrier to entry on that?
I turned it off when a giant caterpillar pops up out of the fucking ground. And I'm done.
Oh, that's actually a normal thing in the Resident Evil world too. Like, yeah, giant alligators, giant spiders.
Like the way that looked, it looked like they took an actual caterpillar and took a close up of it. And then they did a little bit of, like, it was not a very good effect.
Like old school superimposing kind of
yeah,
thing.
like it looked like an old monster movie is what it reminded me of. Like old school monster movie, with the rumbling seats and shit. Like, that's what it reminded me.
Oh no, look, a giant tarantula. It's just walking in front of the camera. Everyone's like way off in the back.
Right, forced perspective.
It was kind of weird, but that is somewhat par for the course in Resident Evil. Like Chicken said, I feel like they really kind of fell short on some of the things that are... Action stuff does this a lot, where it's like, we need to progress the action. Let's have our characters make a completely asinine and stupid and incredibly unbelievable decision in order to progress the action. Okay, it's like, does anybody not get drawn out of it that way? Like, watching it and you're like, why would that make sense to anybody? That's literally not a thing that any normal person would do. So why is this happening?
Video games will do that sometimes too, and it takes me kind of out of it, because I'm like, okay, this is a throwaway level. We needed a filler level. Let me figure out a way to do it. And it's the same thing. They're doing filler episodes, right?
Well, it's not even filler episode. It's like, okay, we need this thing to be exposed to this thing. How can we do this? Okay, well, this is unreasonable and stupid, but why not? Like, it's almost like, okay, well, I need in the next scene for Jennifer's hair to be wet. Okay, well, what's a completely and totally believable way that this would happen in a real live scenario? Well, she's got a bathroom in her house. Why don't we have her stick her head in the toilet? That makes sense. Cool, let's do it. Jennifer's hair is now wet for the next scene because she stuck her head in the toilet. It's like, this doesn't make any sense. Normal people wouldn't make that decision. There are other ways you could have gotten to that.
I mean, you doubt people then, because I guarantee there's someone out there that is like, I need to wet my hair. Well, I guess the toilet's there. I guarantee there is someone out there that will do it.
But 100% positive. Okay, any room a toilet's in. Hold on, now we gotta have like an assessment of toilets. All right, you usually have, which there are things called quarter baths, which are usually either a sink or it is a toilet. and that's it. Then there's half baths.
Okay,
which are
first of all, how do you
usually
have just a
and
toilet?
sink
Do you wash your
together.
hands in the toilet?
Yes.
Yes.
Or it's got a bidet and you wash your hands in the bidet.
No, stop.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you got a quarter toilet and still
I'd
can
rather
wash your
wash
hands.
the bidet than I would the toilet itself, because at least it's like a fountain, right?
Maybe they have a
You
bidet
know.
and that's how they wash. They got their hair wet.
No, stop.
But then you have like a full bath that's going to either have a shower and or a bath tub, right? So there's other options that are there. So if you're trying to get, hair wet, there are other options, and most people, I think Griff is correct. Most people are going to make a reasonable decision of, I have this way to wet my hair or this way to wet my hair. This is where I use the restroom. Like the other two
This
options.
is a
are
dumb
there.
choice. This is a reasonable choice.
Right.
As I have learned over the last few years, there are far more people that make unreasonable choices than there are people that make reasonable choices. And you can't tell me that I'm wrong about that.
I think it depends on but what you're talking about in that reference. I think if you base it on what Griff was talking about, I think more people are going to either use said shower/bath or sink to wet hair, not toilet.
100% agree with you, but I guarantee there's 99% of people that will agree with you too, and that 1% somebody is going to dunk their head in the toilet just to be funny too. Oh, they said I won't do it, and then they do it, and
I
you're
guess
like,
they
why
coulda
the
gave
fuck
it
did
like,
you do it?
hey, her brother gave her a swirly.
And then they get like some kind of weird infection in their scalp, and
Yeah, I mean, like, this progresses the plot for us just fine.
And then a giant caterpillar comes out of the toilet.
Exactly.
If you want to know, like, specifically what scene I'm talking about, then go to Chicken's Discord. There's a spoiler channel, and you can ask me there. And I will...
What scene is it? They're going to have to tell me, because I don't...
I'll tell you afterwards. Just ask me.
Okay.
Because if I start talking about it, I'm actually going to tell you what it is, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't watched it because it's relatively new. Some people don't have all the free time yet, so
Yeah, I have not watched it. I keep forgetting it even exists.
I'm not spoiling
From the
it for
sound
Pocket
of it,
Head.
it's like
I will
it's
say
okay
it
that you
feels
forget.
like they took names and characters and swapped things around.
Yeah, some of the characters, they're like, this is supposed to be this person, and you're like, are you
Like
sure?
knowing more about like the Resident Evil world and universe and whatnot, it's like that doesn't seem like that character. That seems like that character. Like also the couple of references that they've made to the game so far, it's like, where are we? When are we? How are we? Like, I'm so fucking lost because it's like
I have a-
you
I have a
referenced
question.
this.
And this is not necessarily, it's not really a spoiler, but it's a question because this also took me out of it. So you have this whole world that's been destroyed by zombies essentially and all the shit that's going on. How are they communicating between, because there's a scene with like an iPad conversation happening. How is that conversation happening if all
It's a
the shit
satellite
looks
link.
destroyed around?
Oh, satellite links. Trust me, you
she-
get that.
I
You
think
get that
one of the
answered later
characters
on.
mentions a sat phone and specifically
Okay, so it
says
is
your satellite
mentioned
phone.
why.
Yes.
Yeah. It's dealt with because that was my first thought. Like when she first pulled that up, I was like, "Oh, she's watching a video because it's the end of the fucking world, and this is the only thing she holds." Oh,
Right.
No,
That's what I
No,
that's
she's
thought
having
too.
a live conversation on Skype or whatever.
yeah. I was like, "Oh, this is a live conversation."
She's
Okay.
in a Zoom meeting right now, and it's the apocalypse.
Oh, okay. All right. I think I know where we're at. Kinda. Not really. Still lost.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's satellite link is
Okay.
the
I just-
thing they threw out at some point.
I was hoping that they had at least kind of mentioned why and how that could happen.
Yeah, they do.
It's been
funny.
weird. It's one of those things that makes me like my question, I guess, for discussion is if you were going to pick a game or a game franchise that you think would transition well to probably a TV show because they're all going to be too long for movies for the most part, what would you pick? Like, what do you think would make the best transition and still be compelling to people that don't know it?
I think that question is so broad because it depends on how you write the story. You
I
could
mean,
take
that's
any
true.
video game and turn it into like a cinematic masterpiece if you have the right writer and director.
I guess that's true. I guess which one seems like it wouldn't be so hard for people? Like, nobody's gonna watch a Bulletstorm TV show and be like, I've never played this game, but I'm totally into it. Nobody's gonna do that. But there are some games, some franchises that seem like they would transition a little better than that.
Are you talking about a direct translation? Like you take
Well, like I said,
piece
it
of media and moving
depends.
over, or are you saying just be in the universe itself?
I guess it could be either or. I'm thinking for me, I would want to see something that I, as somebody who played the games, would enjoy it equally as somebody that hadn't. So it's one of those where it's like it needs to be kind of close, at least close enough for it to pass the grift test, which is difficult anyway. But it is what it is. I mean, I don't want to, an Uncharted situation where it's like, okay, yeah, it's a good popcorn flick, I guess, but it's not actually Uncharted. So if you've played the games, it takes you out of it because the whole time you're going, that's not how that happens. That's not what that would do. That's not how that worked. That's not
because they've announced the second Mortal Kombat one, I think a fighting game is like the perfect fucking thing because the only thing that you look for in a fighting game is the fighting. And the choreography. They did a really good
job of the fights in that.
Yeah, I was going to say, the choreography in that, like, it doesn't matter about the story. The story was just fucking literally just cardboard cutouts in between the fights. It was just meh. But the fight choreography and the fatalities were fucking great. And you can't deny that either.
No, but I think if you're trying to make it an actual cinematic greatness, which is what she's kind of leaning toward, I think you would
I have high standards.
What would you want out of that? You don't play Mortal Kombat for the story. So the story in the movie either doesn't have to be that great.
Yeah, but I would think people like us that know Mortal Kombat are more likely to even turn it on and watch it versus somebody that doesn't know anything about it at all, just because most of us grew up and at least knew Mortal Kombat was a fighting game. And
every person on this planet knows Mortal Kombat's a fighting game.
Yeah, but they're not going to go, like, we're nerds, so we're going to turn around and go, yes, I want to watch this. But what she's saying is broader audience.
Yeah, like what would transition well enough to get both sides of the spectrum?
Both sides?
People who have played the game are like, yeah, this is a cool show, and people who have never had any interaction with it at all are like, yeah, I can watch this.
I feel like you could do either like ESO, so something that's part of Elder Scrolls itself, part of that line, because you have a broad universe that's created in different nations or however they're defined in that particular universe, but or something like Mass Effect, to where you have a definitive start and finish that you can do that we know exist for at least one of the timelines, or you can create your own outside of the game world that takes place in that universe somewhere.
I think in this day and age, you're going to have a hard time with both of them because a Mass Effect is going to be called a Star Wars ripoff, and an Elder Scrolls is going to be called a Lord of the Rings ripoff. But I think Elder Scrolls,
like sci-fi and fantasy, that
I think Elder Scrolls would probably hold its own a little bit better because you're gonna be roaming around in the Lord of the Rings genre because that's the big fantasy one that you're gonna be competing with. Which is why the only thing competing with Lord of the Rings is the new Lord of the Rings. And hell, they're not even touching the story that was already told. They're telling a different one because you can't retell the same one. You're going to have, people are just going to attack it in every direction. So they're like, let's do a different part of the story. Exactly.
I think you could do Mass Effect, but I think that I like Oak's idea of it not being something that is part of the main series. Because with Mass Effect, they have this nice side chunk of Arya T'Loak, the Asari lady that runs Omega, which is basically the kind of lawless asteroid where a lot of the stuff happens. And there's a story between 2 and 3 where she has this whole intrigue with a Turian, and they have a relationship of some sort, and then it kind of falls apart, and then she gets dethroned by the bad guys, essentially. So if you could cover that in a TV show, that'd be a lot of fun, because you don't have a whole bunch of stuff that's 100% nailed down already. You could set it in the universe. The universe is compelling enough without having to explain what's going on in the background, because it's not really important to a lot of the people on Omega. So it'd be kind of neat to see that. I think that would transition pretty well.
I think an actual Resident Evil, because I saw this on the thread reading through some of the comments on people absolutely offended by this show, that they could have done something very simple. Raccoon City in 1998, tell the story of the Birkin family, Sherry Birkin, William, and Annette, the two scientists that worked at Umbrella and manufactured the virus, and Sherry, like all recognizable names, and then you do the catastrophic event that happened, and you throw in some of the players from the game. Leon shows up, and like Jill, and you see all of these different parts, but from the Birkin family, and that kind of gives you that like apocalypse fantasy style, which you could have attached to that family and then watched the tragedy of it happen, and then the thing of Raccoon City happening, like that. You could turn that into a good story, and you can deviate enough from the games to kind of give it its own taste, where people who don't know anything about it will be able to come in, watch from the family's perspective, but also see, and the rest of the people who are big fans be able to see the big names come up on stage too, and oh my god, there he is, and things like that, but they're not the main players,
right?
So I think that one could work, because I mean, everybody likes The Walking Dead. Well, everybody liked The Walking Dead,
the original, in which I think
until
is what
season
you'd be
4.
Yeah, like.
Or they're 10, 11, 15.
I think it's 11.
I think they're still going, aren't they?
This is the last. This is the end.
Oh, okay, we're in the last season.
We're in the last half of the season. The last half of the series.
I thought that was last season was the last season.
There's a spin-off coming out though.
There's movies coming out.
There's multiple spin-offs.
Yeah. Oh yes.
That's kind of I think you guys have run that one into the ground.
Like too many zombies.
Yeah.
Well, it's because like they just deviated too many routes. It's called The Walking Dead, and then like they got rid of this. They forgot there were supposed to be zombies in the show, and they're just focusing too much on the drama. It's like, bruh, we're supposed to be surviving in this apocalypse, but it's like you forgot there are zombies.
As a metaphor, these are humans, but they are actually the Walking Dead as well. They just don't.
But they're not walking; they're fighting each other.
I mean, they're still shuffling around.
They're not They're not trying to survive. They're just all fighting. It's not survival. It's like the same principle that Resident Evil fell down. They went to action and forgot the roots of the survival.
Yeah.
Like you can't deviate too far from your like main path, because it was like, yeah, perfect. Okay. Oh, you're getting.
You got weird.
Okay, you just completely lost like the main characters, the story of it. Like you just completely lost everything.
You could not make Resident Evil 5 or 6 into a movie and people be like, okay, because there's the boulder punching scene in 5, and there's all of the quick action buttons, and you're like, no, this is dumb.
First of all, Chris can of course punch boulders.
It is the meme.
Real.
I mean, he could take a punch from Wesker. Come on, he could punch a boulder. He's fine. I mean, have you seen his arms? They're like watermelon sized, and he's got gloves on too. So
he's fine. Got it.
Oh yes, like Resident Evil got to that point because where it was always just a little bit quirky too. That always had those little bits of quirk in it, and the boulder punching scene was absolutely one of them. I mean, come on, you saw how the game ended.
Yeah, I know.
Always ends with a rocket launcher, and this one ended with 2 rocket launchers in a volcano. I mean, you can't get any more.
The last one, right?
I mean, you can't get any more like over the top for an ending.
Just the Earth's rocket launcher, right?
Exactly.
Oh my god!
You shot 2 rocket launchers into the volcano and blew it up, and that was the only way to kill Wesker. Which he's not dead; he's frozen in the volcano.
He's sleeping.
He is sleeping.
Resident
He's
Evil 10. That's when he'll be back.
Resident Evil 10: Wesker's Return.
Yes. He's gonna be like, what happened while I was asleep? What is this?
He's gonna have like rock hard abs that are made of the cold volcano.
Yeah, see, that's what's gonna.
I mean, you already saw dude was just like solid as a rock anyway.
Well, I mean, now he really will be though. Gotta chisel him out.
He's frozen. I get it. Chiseled.
Yeah.
Chiseled. God. I think that would be it. Like you've got to have something with a good storyline, like in general, and a universe that's created around it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think it's enough just to have like the thing with like even if you stuck with Uncharted's original plot line and went through and did all the original plot lines on there, they didn't build enough of the universe to be able to expand outside of that like you would go through and like once you get done with those 4, there's nothing. Like you're just like, okay, I'm done.
I mean, you could have done a Halo Reach TV series, like a couple seasons, like the game where it was just the end of it, which I mean they might do in the Halo TV series that they have now. Who fucking knows?
They have a Halo Reach cartoon.
Yeah,
the one that's based off the original book.
I like the Halo Reach kind of story play is what I really like because I mean it's tragedy. You know how it's going to end, but it's cinematic to watch it play out. It's the same thing with Rogue One, I think it is.
Yeah, Rogue One. That's the reason Rogue One was so good.
Yeah, like you know how it's going to end, and you know how sad it is, but you're so engrossed in the story. You're like, maybe it won't end like that. And it's like that. You're like, damn, I really wish it would have ended like that. But
meanwhile, in the theater, the red lightsaber lights up, and everybody went nuts.
I mean, I guess whatever makes you happy, though.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of any others off the top of my head for that, because they're kind of epic in the way that they're.
I think you could do it with some. Like I said, BioShock Infinite's one that I think that if you tweak the story some, you could have a nice transition into a TV show. Because you'd get that slow turn of wait, what? I thought, okay. But I don't think that you could have as much success with like the original BioShock. I think there's too much that relies on you being there versus you seeing there, you know?
Do you think if you did it with either one of them, well, with Rapture specifically, on it, wouldn't it be more entertaining in that particular case from a television standpoint to do the start of Rapture, like when it was created?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think if you do like the beginning into the fall of Rapture, that would be perfect though. Watching the fall of Rapture would be like incredible.
And now the games, you could play the games and it never affects any of that. It's just
because it's already, yes. That would be pretty fun too.
Oh,
although you'd have a lot of people going, did this guy really spend this much money just so he didn't have to pay taxes? Because, I mean, essentially that's what it was. Ryan built Rapture essentially because he didn't want to have to pay taxes. He didn't feel like it was fair.
And this woman thinks that people won't dunk their head in the toilet for no reason. And this motherfucker spends billions and billions of dollars just not to pay taxes. People are stupid, for the record. They do ridiculous things, like build a city underwater or dunk their head in the toilet. Same principles.
Go into one of their safes and you get like $1.10 out of it. Like,
hey, you know what? That's it's because inflation and everything. So that's probably like at least $5 back then, if you account for inflation.
At least $1.50, $3.50.
$3.50. Get out of here, Loch Ness Monster.
It was then that I realized that I was staring at it.
I think the problem with doing Rapture though is being able to believably build set pieces and have it not look janky.
We are in an era where CGI is incredible.
Or you get the caterpillar from Resident Evil.
I think.
Don't let Netflix do it.
I am not 100% not knocking the people that worked on Resident Evil. I think you did your job. You did what was on there, and you did with what you could. I'm knocking the person that wrote the plot, but overall, good on you. South Africa is trying to create their own little film industry stuff that's going down. I think if that same show had been shot in the U.S. or backed more heavily from a U.S. standpoint, or shot in Canada to where you have established Hollywood-esque type stuff, you'd be fine. Actually, I'd kind of want it shot in India because I don't know if you've seen RRR, but I mean, my God. Right, like the animals look better on that than some of the fire did in freaking Resident Evil. I can find better fire on the internet. Like I can find the same thing and be like, oh look, person on fire. I created this. Here we go. But I just I think that if you're going to do Rapture, you've got to have a big company behind it. I think Griff's right on that part. It's got to be, everything's got to be done right.
Because it's got to be expensive to make.
Absolutely not Netflix. Don't let Netflix do anything with anything ever. Like, all of their adaptations are so fucking like I don't know what or who they get to write this stuff. It is wild that Witcher is as good as it is.
Like when you got like Stranger Things and stuff like that stuff's good.
Yeah, but that's not Netflix writing it. That's them going to somebody who's already written it and bringing them in.
That could have been with Resident Evil as well.
There's no way in hell that anybody that worked on Resident Evil wrote that script.
No, somebody bought the rights to it. It could have been the South African company that put it through there. It could have been Cape Town Studios.
That is fine, but they've never heard of Resident Evil before in their life.
And all they do is pitch it to Netflix, and Netflix goes, okay, we'll help pay for it.
Yeah, they're also the ones that okayed Death Note 2, which is just as bad, by the way.
Yeah.
Their adaptations are terrible. I think they did a Bleach one too, and that one's bad too. Like,
I wouldn't say all their adaptations are bad though. The Witcher's good.
That's what I already said. The Witcher,
Bebop.
like,
it only made it to one season before like the backlash and the fans were like, no, this is absolute fucking garbage.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know.
That was a fun thing to think about. You can put some thought
Maybe-
into it. We can talk about it in Discord.
food
and stuff.
for thought. Food for thought.
Yeah. So,
I did just think of one though.
what?
Gears of War.
Gears of War would be an interesting one to see. Because it does have a lot of action, but it also has a pretty amazing and really heartfelt story that goes along with it. Like, yeah, I'd watch that. I'd watch
also-
that,
you
but
can
I'd still
build
be
inside
sad
the universe,
knowing
too.
how it goes.
You got to make sure that you have the right actors for that. Like the characters are what make that game. Like, yeah, the story is really fucking good, but the characters are what just pull you in so fucking hard.
Do you? Here's my question on that, because the people in Gears are oversized. That's not the size of a normal human.
No.
So do you go normal human sized, or do you try to mock like?
No,
do the
you
exact
like.
same thing?
I think it was Dave Bautista, like that dude who's just built like a fucking ox. They've shown him in armor, like Gears armor and whatnot, and he looks perfect, like a human version of somebody from that game, where he is just nothing
I
but
think
muscle.
What happens, and this is the only thing that I would think of from a casting standpoint. The minute you try to go for a specific look, you limit yourself on the actors.
When you go for a specific game, you limit yourself on the actors, and Resident Evil is a perfect example, because you see how they changed some characters. That was like, you
I
have to
think
work within the
that's where
confines.
But you limit yourself on that. But again, is it compelling if you can't get the right actors for the job? Like they don't have the chops. They might have the look, but they don't have the chops. So
Gotta find a good balance.
If you don't give them, you got to bring some people in that have the chops, and not everybody's gonna buff up and be massive. Be doing it where you could just be somebody that's fit and put them in the armor and make them go, but they have the chops. So it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, like I think the casting would be the hardest part for a Gears movie, because it's so heavily reliant on the characters.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I guess the only other option you have on that is go straight CGI.
Oof.
Do it completely CGI.
Animated TV show.
Yep, like an animated television show. And do it that way, and then that way they'll never age out, and then you can use the exact same actors if you wanted to.
It's true.
So
It'd be easy. It'd be a lot easier for the Locust.
oh my god, yes.
Man, I couldn't imagine
Could you
trying
imagine
to
doing the makeup?
I couldn't imagine trying to do the mocap for that and the chainsaw kills and whatnot. I bet it would look so fucking good though.
Yeah,
if you
well,
could get
I
it
was
right.
actually just thinking about, like, if you could make it work right to do the Lancer chainsaw gun kills, that would be so
Yeah,
cool.
like you get the chainsaw kills and then you boot them off of your gun or your chainsaw. Oh my god! Because a lot of that game is just heavy contact, and you can feel it too when you're playing. Like if you play Gears of War, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
It'd be also great because they've got that little reload option that's in there when you hit it midway in order to be able to and like it's that quick reload thing.
Yeah.
If in the game you saw somebody do the quick reload and then they missed that opportunity in some way, and it kind of does that little jam thing that it does. And like somebody, you could tell from a player standpoint that that's what was happening and going, oh my God, they put that in, you know?
Yeah, you just watch them doing that, like, oh, damn it, it's jammed again. Hey, he did it. He missed it. He missed the reload.
That would be hilarious. Hilarious. Do we want to talk some news?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess we should. There's not much, but I mean, we can.
No, there's like nothing.
So, you know, we're people that everybody gets to be who they want to be. We're big fans of people. We are people, and everybody gets to be who they want to be. And we're all for tattoos and inking it up. Well, Blizzard evidently is too. Right now they have a tattoo tour going on for Diablo 4, and you get beta access and digital access to, well, the digital copy of the game. If you get a free tattoo on this tattoo tour that they have going around the US currently. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm glad that you're not having to pay for it. I'd be so mad if you had to pay for this tattoo.
I think it's weird that they're using people as walking billboards. Because they are. They're like, hey.
The first time kind of companies have done that, though.
Yeah, I think other companies have done that in the past, or something really similar. It's just...
Yeah,
I want to say one company did do a tattoo thing where if you got a tattoo and walked around with it as advertisement, you got something.
But did they give it out, or was it just, hey, if you get a tattoo, you could show us?
I think it was just, hey, if you get a tattoo.
Yeah, this one is like, we are sending people around to tattoo people, and you guys can get our game for free.
Yeah,
I think it's weird that it is sponsored by the company making the game. I think that's the part that makes it weird.
That's the part that's odd.
That have that Ellie tattoo from The Last of Us, which, you know, it's cool if you like a game and want to get a tattoo from it, but I wouldn't get the same one that everybody on the planet's getting, which is one of the things that I guess plays into this, because it's going to be one of those things where you go in and they've got like a little poster of like 10 tattoos that you can pick from, most likely. My question is, like, how big is this tattoo? Does that have to be like easily citable from the street or something? Like, are we talking it takes up like most of my forearm? Not that I would be getting one. I'm just saying, what are the requirements, I guess?
Well, the
get it like
spider.
I mean, you can get it tattooed on your ass and then never have to show it to anybody.
Saying. Like, you could get it tattooed in a hidden place, and then, you know, you get the free game. Especially if it's something small. It's like, oh, okay, cool. That was easy. I mean,
does anybody here love a video game enough to get a tattoo from said video game for this particular purpose, not just
for this particular purpose? No, I wouldn't do it as like a marketing thing, but I had considered for a little while a couple of game themed tattoos that were specific to me, you know.
Right. Like, and at least like the ones that they're showing, at least it's not like the Diablo 4 symbol, like. So that way, it was just like a crap game at the end of the day.
They go and get like logos and whatnot before things come out, and you're like, "Ooh, is that a good choice, though?"
Then the game gets canceled.
I don't know.
It's wild.
I think it's better for something like that if someone likes your product enough to go and get a tattoo of their own volition, not, hey kids, we'll give you a free game if you get a tattoo. Like, what is this marketing? It's weird. I guess it's viral. It's so people talk about it, which obviously it's working. It's something that gets shown on social media a lot because it's easy to go, I got this, you know, tattoo for Diablo, look at it, everybody. You know, so it's a viral marketing thing, and that's really all it is. The fact that they give you a card that says, thank you for offering your flesh as tribute. Yeah. I mean, they're trying to tie it into the game, which, you know, it's
again,
marketing.
Still weird, still odd, but, you know, to each their own. Everybody's free to sell themselves for whatever.
I definitely
or in this, sell their soul.
Wouldn't get a tattoo for something like that. Like, never get a tattoo in exchange for something. Get a tattoo because you like it and you've put a lot of thought into it. Not, oh shit, you guys, I can get the new demo, or I can get a digital copy of this game and get the beta access. Cool.
So
Hey,
don't
people-
go get a random tattoo when you're drunk.
Most
If
tattoo places
people-
won't tattoo you when you're drunk, but
Yeah, if people want to, though, they're more than free to. Like, everybody has the right to be.
yeah, you can do whatever you want. Some people don't care. Like, their skin is just canvas for them, and it doesn't have to be something that means a thing. But other
Exactly.
people,
Boxers,
you know,
boxers that have websites tattooed onto their bodies.
that's
Yeah,
wild.
like-
That is
Yep.
wild to me. I couldn't do it. Like, it has to mean something if I'm gonna have
why
it forever.
people-
But
That's why people are odd. They and I do mean odd. Everybody is a little odd and unique in their perspectives of the way they want to live. So to each their own. Live your life.
I'm like Griff on that one though. If I'm gonna have the ink, it's gonna be meaningful to me in some way.
yes,
If I'm gonna mark up my own body, which I mean, these people could be the biggest Diablo fans on the planet that are getting this done, but it would
doesn't
depend
feel
on
that
what my
way.
10 options are too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if they're like, okay, here's 10 options. One's a penis you have to put on your face. You know, at the end of the day, that's not happening.
That's not happening. No,
It's not gonna
I'm gonna
happen.
pass on that.
Yeah. Here's a spider. We have to put it on your head. No, that's not happening either. You put it right here, and since it's a Black Widow looking spider, it's on there. I'd have a widow's peak.
you can.
Y'all are welcome.
Well, it is what it is. People do whatever for marketing, and it's working because we're talking about it. So, you know,
It is true.
Yeah, exactly.
they getting that money. So whatever.
So if y'all are interested, look at the article in the Discord on that one. So
Yeah,
the
look
campaign
for
is
when
going
they're
to North
coming
America,
to your
Europe,
town.
and Australia.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you can't afford the game, they'll just tattoo you and give it to you for free.
True.
All right.
So we got a big announcement. The only game series that I know of that's gotten 10s 2 games in a row. The third game is finally being announced for an actual release date. That launch date is set for October 28th, and that's Bayonetta 3. So after what was announced 5 years ago, then went MIA for a while. It's now October the 28th of this year, and got a new trailer and stuff out as well.
Damn, that's so crazy. First one was October 29th, 2009. Second one was September 20th, 2014. And the Bayonetta 3 is October 28th, 2022. So is that 5 years? And then, holy shit, 7 years.
That comes out on my birthday.
So
And
hope everybody
that-
has their Switch.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. And this will, I guarantee we're going to see a hat trick out of them. Like, I bet Bayonetta 3 is going to be so fucking good that that'll get a 10 out of 10. And
I
they
mean, as
have,
long as it's taken, you know.
yeah,
like,
no shit. I guarantee, like, I mean, you create a game and it is highly, highly received. 10 out of 10s. Critics fucking love it. I've played it. It's so goddamn good. It is unbelievably good for what it is. And then they're like, okay, well, how the fuck do we top this? Well, I hope this one's good. Is it a good story? And it comes out, and it, again, is highly received. Everyone's like, wow, you didn't think that they could top themselves, but they sure as fuck did. Again, 10 out of 10. They're like, okay. Why? Okay, how do we keep doing this? Like, that's a lot of pressure. You've created 2 nearly perfect games in a row. And now you're making a third one, and you're like, well, this one has to be perfect. Like, now the expectations are set way the fuck up there.
That's true.
Like, way the fuck up there. And they have put in a, I forgot what the mode is called. It's, damn, we were talking about it. Basically,
the non-nude
yeah.
basically.
It turns down the nudity, but I mean, there's only so much that you can do when she's grinding on a dragon, even whether she's clothed or not clothed. I mean, it's gonna look
It's still
quite.
insinuating some things.
Yeah, it's gonna
more,
be.
It's more haired than it is clothed because her clothing is her hair. So
That is true.
Good thing to think about anyway.
yeah. I will make sure everybody knows this as well. If you have not played the Bayonetta series, the original Bayonetta, they're doing a physical launch of it on September the 30th for the Switch as well. Or if you just want to own it on your Switch, they got a physical launch on running up to that.
Didn't they already have a physical version?
They had one of 2, but I think it was a digital of 1.
Huh.
So they're doing a disc version of it.
The Switch doesn't do disc.
Or not. You know what I mean?
The little cartridge thingy.
The cartridge thingy.
Just
Come
don't put it in
on,
your mouth.
man. Say it right, or I'm gonna give you a hard time the whole time. Damn it.
Exactly.
Lock it there to keep us in check.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you think this is? A PSP?
But make sure that if you are playing your Bayonetta, which it should not be this hot in October, but if it is, just so you know, make sure that you are playing, that you cannot play your Nintendo above 95 degrees outside or 35 degrees Celsius. Don't do it.
I when I saw this article, I was like, I can't believe that there is an article for this. I was like, so you're telling me that it is so hot outside that I can't actually play my console because it's gonna burn up?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, yes.
It's like that's an interesting article that I did not ever think I would see. It's basically like if Microsoft sent out a PSA, make sure your air conditioner is on while you're playing.
I just love reading it because I'm sitting here going, y'all think 95 degrees is hot.
I know,
You
right?
also have to look at it from a standpoint of these are a lot of things that are going out in countries not the U.S. where air conditioner is something that we take for granted because we all have it, but in a lot of these countries, it's not something that everybody just has. So
That is true.
don't play your Switch in 95 degrees means you're sitting in your apartment almost naked because it's 80, million degrees in your house and you can't do anything about it. Please do not turn on your Switch. It may burst into flames, which will only make it hotter. We're looking at it from a very American thing where it's like, it's funny that you have to have that, but really, there's a heat wave globally right now in a lot of places that don't get or can't deal with these temperatures. So it's funny to
That's
us
true.
because we have air conditioner and we're in, the southern US where it's humid all the time. And so 95 degrees feels like 105 and it's, in a wet towel basically. But we're used to it. These people aren't. That's why
America is quite an interesting country based on our weather patterns because we get everything. I think we're the only country in the world that have just about every single style of weather
other
pattern.
countries experience extreme weather as well. It's just that this is extreme weather.
Yeah,
right
but
now.
we have everything. We have the hottest extreme temperatures like Death Valley, the driest heat, the most humid heats, sub-zero
comparatively speaking,
temperatures,
we're like several
hurricanes,
countries pushed together
tornadoes.
based on
Yeah,
size.
we got every single type
So-
of weather out there. That we were literally
Russia's
just
3 times as large as we are. It doesn't
Yeah,
have the
but
same
it's
weather
just
patterns.
less populated, and it's also closer to the they have a lot of weather that we don't experience because they're so close to the freaking cold.
I mean, we experience absolute frigid weathers. Hell, our south experiences
Siberia's
absolute
a little
frigid.
different because they have, but I mean, we also have. I mean, technically, we have Alaska that
in the
has
continental
has
U.S., I don't
technically-
think we have
weather.
permafrost. So
Yeah.
Technically, we have Alaska. It's up there. I mean, come on. You got continental U.S. and then you have Alaska up there by itself and Hawaii down there by themselves. So, you got the two little outliers that fill in the rest of the.
Yeah, we
the
didn't have
specialty.
enough weather in our country, so we
we bought a
got
couple
2 other
more.
2 other areas.
Yeah, we're like, we need some permafrost. Let's get Alaska. We need some island country. Let's get Hawaii. Perfect. All right, now we're sorted out. Everything's good. We got volcanoes. Perfect. Yes.
Okay, volcanoes, earthquakes, and tornadoes. Done. We
Perfect.
have all the weather.
Get it.
Oh, too funny. So Ubisoft came out this week and let us know that the new Splinter Cell VR game as well as the Ghost Recon Frontline game are both canceled. Frontline is the massive VR that has a 102-person mode that they were going to have on it. That was part of the Ghost Recon series. The Splinter Cell VR would have been kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think it would have been real neat.
But the remake of Splinter Cell is still on, so those that are interested in Splinter Cell series, that is still happening. So, just so we know on that one. Anybody have anything to add with those two?
I mean,
don't think so.
it's sad that the Splinter Cell game is canceled. We're still waiting for one. Please. Anything? No? All right.
It's
back
coming.
to the shelf.
It's coming.
No, it's not. It's never.
Yeah.
It'll be 2030 before we see anything Splinter Cell.
Hey, but it's still coming. That didn't change what I said.
You're not wrong.
We're all big fans of Detroit Become Human. Evidently has a manga series set in Tokyo. You know you're in the U.S. when you say that one wrong. But that's interesting. Does anybody here read manga?
I do.
Does anybody here read? I'm illiterate, actually.
No, I don't read. I thought Griff might be interested in this one because
you mean that thing where you flip through the piles of paper that are all stuck together?
Yes, that's the thing.
I think it sounds neat.
Not sure why your pages are stuck together.
Maybe we don't question that.
Okay,
All right, moving on.
Got weird real fast.
But yeah, it's nice to see them kind of open up the world for Detroit Become Human.
I wonder if this means
Tokyo
that we're going to be
stories.
getting an announcement for a sequel soon.
Oh, that would be neat.
I mean, it
Granted-
was pretty well received, so...
I mean, and if you're smart, you could do anthology style.
Yeah, do it as a different... Which, I mean, I feel like this is kind of leaning into that. And somebody in the... I think, like, there's only a handful of comments on this, but it's like, why didn't they call it Tokyo Become Human instead of Detroit? And it's like, well, because Detroit Become Human is the source material. It's telling you which series it's in, so you know where to, place this in your brain instead of thinking they're all separate.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like, if you want to do an anthology, it'd be like Tokyo Becomes Human or something like that. But it's also, if they want to use Detroit as the baseline of where in this universe everything kind of branches from, like the Tokyo stories, like things are going to stir up there because they hear what happened in Detroit, and all the rest of the world starts kind of changing based on the events of what happened in Detroit.
I think it'd be interesting because I don't think David Cage has ever done a sequel before. I'm wrong on that?
I don't think so.
I think he's a one and
that's-
done in each one of his stories.
I think it's because he usually does like a this is a complete story, we have ended things kind of deal.
Probably. Like Heavy Rain, there was no way to make one on it.
I mean, there are there are two different Heavy Rain. Oh, I guess they did
what is it,
DLC
Between
for that
Two
one.
Souls or whatever that one was.
Yeah.
Beyond
There's
Two
not-
Souls.
Beyond Two
Beyond
Souls.
Two Souls.
Yeah. So I don't think he's had a sequel. So if he does a sequel, that would be a first for him. But he could just be trying to branch it out in other mediums while he makes a different game too,
That is very true.
and just be like, hey, I got more ideas, but not enough to make a game. Or he just licensed it out. One or the other. Could have been either. It's anything. Then Microsoft has announced, Mojang has announced that there will not be NFTs of any type allowed in Minecraft. I guess people are trying to figure out ways to make that happen.
Which that's a little surprising because Minecraft is a huge place that you could make NFTs for.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, nope. Which that's awesome at the same time, So let's please keep the NFTs out of our video games. Even Microsoft is saying so.
Yes.
Yeah, we all
Yeah,
know.
there
how
was-
They just
I
need
feel
to
about
go away in
NFTs.
general.
There were so many articles over the last couple of weeks about NFTs. Oh my god. Even Epic came out and restated that they're not going to put any NFTs into any of their games, but, whatever you put on our storefront, whatever, blah, 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 you can do whatever, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Which I think Steam says that you can't do NFTs. I don't know. I
think that's
want to
correct.
say
I'm not
I want to say
sure.
that Steam was like, you can't do NFTs. I will check just to...
I believe there was an announcement about that. I think you're right on that.
Yeah. Valve's Gabe Newell has explained why the Steam platform has banned games containing NFTs and blockchain technology. So yeah, you can't do NFTs and blockchain on the Steam platform, which I mean is perfectly fine. It's just a giant scam. Oh my god.
Giant scam.
But
Yeah.
let them in to do their pyramid scheme.
Fucking
They
if you
need
fall
to
for
charge
it,
someone like $2 million for an NFT, that's just going to get copied right after.
I'm just gonna go to the Steam Workshop and download it for free.
It's called a mod.
Exactly. I mean, it's not like you're really gonna be able to stop me.
Exactly.
That's,
The last thing we've got on here, Naughty Dog alum Bruce Straley has announced Wildflower Interactive Studios. He was the director on Uncharted 4 as well as The Last of Us. He left gaming in 2017. Wasn't sure if he's going to go back into the gaming world or not. But looks like he has created a new studio. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he creates.
20 years before he's departed.
Mm-hmm.
I bet he'll start with something small.
I mean,
but I bet the storyline's probably going to be pretty good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Small games don't mean small stories.
small.
Small games, small story.
Smooth. Perfect. Anything else? No?
No.
All right. Well, we do appreciate everybody that hangs out with us each and every week at Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDB Oaktree. You can check out Griff.
At Griff's Lineham.
Check out Chicken.
At Elite Chicken 313.
Check out Baka.
At Baka Pickle.
Also, make sure you go to Griff's YouTube channel. There's video games there. Watch all of them. Hit the little sub button. Hit the little ring button. Bell, whatever you want to call that.
Remember,
thing.
always hit it in odd amount of times. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, so on and so on.
Yeah, just so you can feel like you've liked her more than just once. So hit it as many times as you want, as long as it's an odd number. Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/Elite Chicken 313. We're checking. You're about 2 months away, maybe a little more.
Yeah, maybe.
And you can start back to the streaming world. That'll be fun. You'll get to have some time with some video games again. And when I say video games, I mean Elden Ring. I just want it for me, man. I'm
That's
all
fine.
about me. That's all
I'll
you
play
gotta
it
know.
for you. I'll play it for you. You can watch me play it. I'm gonna play like a samurai or some shit. I'm gonna treat it like Ghost of Tsushima.
Can't get away from the game. It's
Or
I like this
Sekiro.
game so much. I'm gonna play this style always.
Always.
You're only allowed a bucket for a helmet.
All right, fine. So some person just beat the game in 2 hours without ever upgrading or taking a hit.
I mean,
That's right. Never leveled up, never took a hit, did nothing but and just straight beat the game.
Wow, that's a lot of dodging. I'm assuming.
Oh yes, I'm sure.
Also, make sure that you go to twitch.tv/MDB Oaktree, where I'm on almost every day of the week. Off tomorrow though, because it's my anniversary, and then my family's leaving me for an entire week. So happy anniversary to me! Woohoo! Whole family's
Bye.
leaving.
Happy anniversary, deuces.
Bye. So I should be on a good bit. But for Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Griff.
I'm Chicken.
And Baka.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.